The first scream did not come from the bridge. It came from the mess hall. Mara Vance pushed through the crowd and saw 3 tiger cubs on the food counter. Trays flying. People shouting. Foam spraying. Then the lights flickered. Not a normal flicker. The station shuddered like it was in pain. And the cubs did not run toward food. They ran toward a door that should not open. Like they were escaping something no one else could see. 10 minutes earlier. Mara Vance was halfway through her shift report when the intercom burst alive. Alert. Disturbance. Deck 7. Mess hall. Deck 7 was supposed to be quiet. Food. Seating. Laughter. Not alarms. She clipped her badge and moved. On the way, Mara remembered the rumor. Cargo Quarantine had received a rescue crate 2 days ago. 3 tiger cubs found in a busted life pod. Orphans from a frontier convoy that never made it home. The report called them bio-risk. The staff called them trouble. And the comment feeds called them weapons. Mara had not met them. Not officially. The corridor outside the mess hall smelled like spice and steam, plus something sharp. Not smoke. Ozone and cold metal. Inside, chaos had a sound. Trays crashed. Cups rolled. A dozen species shouted at once. 3 tiger cubs stood on the serving counter. Small. Striped. Broad-pawed. Gold fur that shimmered under station lights. Eyes too smart for their size. 1 cub stood in a pot of stew like it owned the room. Another clamped a whole loaf in its jaws. The third trembled, pressed low, tail puffed up. People backed away like the cubs were bombs. Someone yelled, "They are from Cargo Quarantine." Someone else yelled, "They bite." And someone, louder than all, shouted, "Weapon animals." Mara raised her hands. Easy. Slow. A station attendant leaned in, shaking. "Security Officer Vance. Protocol says contain them. Now." Mara nodded like she agreed. Then she did the human thing protocol never includes. She spoke to them like they were kids. "Hey, little ones. You are lost. I get it." The loaf cub growled. Not loud, but it carried. The smallest cub stepped forward. Not charging. Walking. Eyes locked on Mara like it was judging her. Mara took 1 slow step closer. The trembling cub sniffed the air, then sneezed. It looked left. Then right. Like it could hear something in the walls. A chair scraped. A tray flipped. Metal clanged. The sound snapped the cubs into panic. All 3 launched off the counter at once. People screamed. Someone slipped in spilled broth. A fire suppressant handle got pulled by mistake. White foam sprayed across the room. And the station lights flickered again. Harder. Deep. Sick. Mara felt it in her bones. That was not a mess hall problem. That was a station problem. The cubs did not run toward people. They ran away from the walls. Straight to a service door marked maintenance only. It should have been locked. It opened. Mara noticed. No one else did. The cubs slipped through. Mara followed. The door slammed shut, and the mess hall noise died. The maintenance corridor was colder. That sharp smell was stronger. The cubs pressed against Mara's boots. They were not the cause. They were the warning. Outside the maintenance door, the mess hall kept roaring. Inside this corridor, the station felt wrong. A soft sway under her feet. A tiny delay in the lights. Like the ship was thinking too hard just to stay steady. Mara had worked security on 5 stations. She knew the difference between panic and failure. Panic is loud. Failure is quiet, until it is not. The cubs huddled near a vent, pressed together. Not hungry. Terrified. Mara crouched. "Okay. Show me what you ran from." The smallest cub padded forward, then froze. It refused to cross an invisible line on the floor. It sniffed, sneezed, and backed away fast. The corridor looked normal. No smoke. No sparks. No warnings. Mara lifted her wrist scanner. Air quality normal. Temperature normal. Radiation normal. Then the scanner beeped again. Magnetic field variation. Mara's throat tightened. This corridor sat above a gravity stabilizer conduit. If the field drifted, gravity could fail across multiple decks. Mara remembered a training video. A station that lost gravity for 12 seconds. 6 people died from impacts and ruptures. The clip ended with one sentence. The floor does not forgive. She opened comms. Control, this is Mara Vance. Engineering to Deck 7 maintenance spine. Now. A tired voice answered. Security, we see a mess hall incident. Contain the animals and return. Mara kept her voice steady. Not just animals. I have magnetic drift near the stabilizer line. Silence. Then a new voice, sharp and controlled. This is Captain Rem. Repeat. Mara repeated it. Slower. Lock down Deck 7, Captain Isham said. Mara Vance. Do not touch anything. Engineering is en route. The lights flickered again. A wall panel popped open with a hiss. Cold vapor breathed out. Coolant fog. Coolant leaks near stabilizer conduits were a nightmare. Coolant could mask heat, hide fractures, and make sensors lie. The cubs whined low, like they felt something coming. Mara heard faint clicking, a relay cycling too fast. She leaned in and saw it. A small black module, not station standard. Wired into the stabilizer control line. A sabotage node. Mara's stomach dropped. This was not an accident. Someone had planted fear on purpose. On stations, fear spreads faster than fire. People vote with it. They buy weapons with it. They accept new rules with it. If someone could stage a crisis, they could steer the whole station. Footsteps thundered behind her. 2 engineers arrived, masks on, tools ready. Dr. Yuli Kasim, lead engineer, saw the module and went pale. That is not ours. Captain HM's voice cut in. Status. Dr. Yuli answered. Captain, foreign module in the stabilizer line. It is pulsing the field in short waves. She pointed at the readout. Not enough to trip alarms every time, but enough to create stutters. She swallowed. People fall. Pipes flex. Seals weaken. Then the big failure hits. Across half the station. Can you remove it? Captain Isham asked. Dr. Yuli hesitated. We can, but if it is rigged, we trigger a cascade. The deck plate vibrated again. Stronger. The cubs pressed closer. Their breathing was fast, but they did not bolt. They stayed near Mara like she was cover. Dr. Yuli spoke fast. We need a manual bypass at the secondary node, Deck 8. Isolation first. Then we pull the device. Mara stood. I can get there. Deck 8 spine is sealed, Dr. Yuli said. Automatic locks. Mara looked at the cubs. The smallest cub pawed at a vent grate. A crawl route. Old. Tight. Hidden. Mara met Dr. Yuli's eyes. Not sealed for them. Captain AM cut in. Security Officer Vance. You are authorized. Get the bypass. Understood, Mara said. She pulled the grate open. The loaf cub dropped the bread and went first. The others followed. Mara crawled behind them, shoulders scraping. The vent smelled like dust and warm metal. The cubs stopped often, sniffing, listening. Halfway through, gravity hiccuped. Not a full drop, just a sudden lightness. Mara's knees lifted off the metal for a moment. A loose screw floated up and spun like a tiny satellite. The loaf cub snapped at it, not to eat it, to knock it away from a spinning fan intake. Then gravity returned, heavy and rude. Mara hit the vent floor and bit back a curse. The cubs did not cry out. They just kept moving. Mara realized something that made her chest ache. They were not brave. They were alert. Like kids who learned early that danger can be quiet. At a junction, the smallest cub froze and whined at a seam. Mara pressed her palm to the metal. A faint pulse thumped through the wall. Her scanner spiked. Field surge. Mara rerouted, following the cub away from the pulse. They reached a drop hatch. Mara opened it. Deck 8 maintenance spine was lit by red emergency strips. The station was already preparing for failure. At the end of the corridor stood the secondary node cabinet. A thick door. A code panel blinking. Access denied. Mara hit comms. Dr. Yuли, cabinet is locked. Override rejected. Dr. Yuli cursed. The sabotage node is controlling access. Mara knelt by the cabinet. The loaf cub sniffed the base and pawed at a seam. Mara saw a small maintenance release latch, hidden under old sealant. A legacy release. Not in the public manuals. Not even in the new schematics. She pulled it. The cabinet popped open. Inside was the isolation lever. Field isolation. The station shuddered again. The floor tilted just enough to make her stomach lift. Gravity was slipping. Mara grabbed the lever and yanked it down. The vibration eased. Lights steadied. Her scanner calmed. Dr. Yuli's voice came through, strained with relief. Isolation is active. We can remove the node safely. Captain HFY spoke. Mara Vance, return immediately. Mara looked at the cubs. They had stopped trembling. The smallest one sat and blinked slowly, like it could finally breathe. Back in Deck 7, security had cordoned the mess hall. Foam everywhere. Trays stacked. Faces staring. Dr. Yuli and the techs removed the black module with careful hands. When it came free, the station settled into a deep, steady hum. A child from a visiting family crew peeked around a table. He held out a napkin toward Mara, then toward the cubs. No fear. Just concern. Mara took it gently. Thanks, she said. Captain HFY arrived in person. Tall. Rigid. Focused. He looked at the cubs, then at the module in a containment bag. Explain. Mara answered. They ran from the leak. They led me to it. A diner stepped forward, uneasy. So the animals saved us. Mara corrected him. They are cubs. Still dangerous, the diner muttered. Mara's eyes hardened. They were more honest than our sensors. Dr. Yuli spoke to Captain HFY. If Mara Vance did not isolate the field, we could have lost gravity and ruptured life support on Deck 7 through 10. A ripple of shock passed through the crowd. Captain HFY's gaze sharpened. Who planted it? Dr. Yuli lifted the bag. Civilian-grade casing. Professional wiring. Someone wanted a slow failure, not a fast blast. Mara finished the thought. A controlled disaster. With a scapegoat. She looked down at the cubs. They wanted to blame the weapon animals and whoever handled them. Captain HFY's voice turned cold. We will find them. After the crowd cleared, Captain HFY spoke lower, only to Mara. An internal affairs officer waited near the doorway. Badge bright. Smile empty. He watched the cubs like they were contraband. Captain HFY ignored him for now and faced Mara. You disobeyed protocol. Mara nodded. I did. You also saved this station, Captain HFY said. Engineering will trace that device. You will file a full statement. Mara nodded again. Then she asked the only question that mattered to her. What happens to them? Captain HFY looked at the cubs. For a second, the hardness in his face cracked. They return to quarantine, he said. Safe handling. No harm. Mara accepted that. For now. The internal affairs officer stepped closer. Security officer, you entered maintenance lines with unclassified wildlife. His tone said he wanted a scapegoat as badly as the saboteur did. Mara looked him in the eyes. I entered with the only warning we had. Captain M cut him off. Save it. The report will show her actions prevented a stabilizer cascade. He leaned in, voice like steel. And until engineering says otherwise, those cubs are evidence, not targets. The officer backed away. Later, in quarantine, Mara filed the report. Subjects 3 tiger cubs. Classification potential weapons. Mara stared at the line. Then she changed it. Subjects 3 tiger cubs. Classification children. Mara slid the tablet away and stood in front of the glass enclosure. The cubs were clean now. Fed. Wrapped in warm lights. Still close together. Still watching every shadow. The smallest cub walked to the glass and lifted one paw. Mara lifted her hand and matched it, palm to glass. No claws. No growl. Just a quiet, careful contact. Mara did not know who tried to break the station. She did know what saved it. 3 cubs did not start the chaos. They stopped the catastrophe.